Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weekly Collective. We are live, and it's great to see everyone. Grab some coffee like I did, sit back a little bit, and we're going to take a look at the next 7 days. Plus, we're going to look at a special topic today. And the special topic, of course, is the ability for all of you to create a new cycle in your life, to create some movement. And I'm getting excited to see what that basically is going to be in store for you. Because we have a new moon today, which actually it started yesterday, it's today, but we still have that energy of beginnings. I think that this was a perfect choice for today. So with that being said, again, welcome everyone. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Before anybody asks, Apollo is right behind me, resting in the background. And we're going to look at the next 7 days together, starting with some channeled messages. Channeled messages, of course, come through dreams for me, and then I meditate on them in the morning. And we're going to begin by analyzing some of those messages. Quick note, if you enjoy what you see here, the easiest way to show support is simply by liking, subscribing, and if you like it, you can share and comment. Basically, what this does is it helps other people find the content here, and I really do appreciate all of your support on that. All right, let's get into the channeled messages. It was a busy morning for me waking up with all the different dreams coming through. I saw different totems and different messages here. The evergreen would be the closest thing to the sort of central totem, but there were a lot of sort of vignettes. As I've been doing this over the years, I've kind of moved away from just having a single totem to having very distinct messages. It's almost like I'm shown episodic moments. So for some of you, these are going to really resonate. For some of you, this might be more of a warning or of an opportunity. So however it resonates with you, just take a listen and we'll see here. Let's talk about the evergreen. For me, this has to do with the ability to see growth, possibilities, and movement throughout your life, throughout your year, because when you think of an evergreen tree, it's always there, it's always green. That's why it's also a Christmas tree, right? It's a sign of growth in a season where there would otherwise not be sort of like life. So abundance and perseverance and growth are what this sort of symbol comprises for me. And I think here, if you can see the possibilities, you can also open up doors and windows to the possibilities. And that's why I featured the 10 of Pentacles here. Also, that's the tree of life on there. So there's a tree of opportunity in there kind of hidden, which we don't always see. So you might be challenged because there could be things coming through where it's difficult to be quote unquote evergreen about something because there could have been a setback. There could be someone that says no. Or there may be nothing obvious in front of you and you're kind of pulling the inspiration from within. And so I would say try to be as positive and as imaginative as you can, and you might be surprised what is opening up for you. The other image that was shown to me was someone pumping the brakes, and this would be the Hanged Man, clearly. The Hanged Man is an often misunderstood card, which sometimes people think, oh no, nothing's going to be happening. This card actually comes through for just that reason, like pumping the brakes to slow down, to avoid a mishap, to avoid missing something. Sometimes for a synchronicity to work, you have to pause here because someone or something is aligning to your path. So the universe throws a temporary block here, which allows the other thing to catch up. Then the block is removed and bingo, the two of you kind of connect. And the Hanged Man is sometimes that very important gatekeeper that makes sure that you don't miss out on something. It also is saying, slow down, folks. If you've had a really rough week, or if you're in a point right now where you just feel like, I need 5 minutes, I need a day, I don't feel like doing anything else. It's okay. We need those moments. We aren't machines. And even machines need maintenance. So the Hanged Man comes through, and if you notice, he has a halo around his head. It's a card of enlightenment. Through pause comes enlightenment. So slow down a little bit, relax, take things in. Make sure that you are giving yourself time to evaluate how and why you're doing what you're doing. Movement's good, but movement for the sake of movement is sometimes just, it can create sometimes sort of more problems. So make sure that you have purpose, interest or intent, and then passion. That's going to make sure that it's informed movement, not just movement for the sake of moving. Okay. Clearing, rising, and rising above here. So I was watching a sort of image of someone cleaning. And what my guides remind me of in this particular image was that sometimes you have to go deeper. So when it comes to things like mold, for instance, or even sort of airborne things, you have to clear the air. You have to sometimes go beneath the surface and then replace things. And it's also a reminder that on the surface we can look good, but we might have some work to do within. So this week might be bringing up some things that need to be cleared. And you don't have to do this alone. You can have support. But there's also this sort of understanding that once the clearing happens, there's a complete reset, some beautiful stuff that could happen for you. And I think these two are working in concert. So the Hanged Man is coming through and saying, slow down for a second. This energy of being able to clear is saying, once you let go of this, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, you can be reborn. That'll bring the abundance that we saw in this card. And then the final one here was about making sure that the next thing that you do is giving you the freedom to move. So I literally saw the devil, personification of, and a contract. And the devil pushed the contract on the table. There was nothing on it but a signature line. That can be just as scary as a contract with too many things. And so what this reminds you is that ambiguity can actually be one of the tools of the devil. So if you're going to create a contract, make sure that things are specified, that you know what you're signing, that there's not confusion. And also maybe there's a period right now where you don't want to sign a contract. The devil seemed kind of with this. It's sort of like, you can do this if you want to. There was no pressure. So don't put pressure on yourself to enter into contracts that you're not ready for. A lot of times people want us to do stuff, and the energy's coming from them. I wasn't getting it from this personification here. It was just sort of like, yeah, if you do this, it might end up being a little tricky. So be very, I would say, scrutinize the contracts, be very specific on what you want, and make sure that you understand what you're getting into. And it was just a general note and a very unusual sort of connection to this. And I never really thought about ambiguity sometimes being something that this character would use. Of course, don't limit yourself. I did see a blank page, and it's sort of saying the sky's the limit unless you want to limit yourself. But if you're going to sign things, you want to make sure that you know what you're signing. So when it comes to yourself, the sky's the limit. When it comes to contracts, don't leave too much ambiguity, because then that leaves someone else a chance to come in and, lay claim to something. All right. So some very interesting messages coming through here on this new moon. Happy Father's Day, by the way, to all fathers out there. And then happy Sunday to everybody else. So this is a day to look at all the potential, to slow down a little bit, to do some clearing and cleaning externally, internally, and making sure that you know what you're getting into. And that's why we're here today, folks. Good to see everybody. Hope you're doing well. And now we're going to take a look at the next 7 days. This component of the reading is going to kind of help you map out the week, right? If you're actually watching this live, take a moment to vote for the deck you'd like me to use. In the meantime, I'm going to use one that's not on the list and see what's coming through for this 7-day forecast. While I'm doing that, quick reminder, if you'd like to follow me on social media, it's always at Nicholas Ashbaugh, and I do not give private readings. Thanks in advance for anybody that decides to give back with a super sticker or super chat. I appreciate it. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. This part of the reading and everything except the elemental forecast is for everyone that's present, unless otherwise stated. That's why it's called collective. Thanks to Dakota for his help with moderation today. And again, welcome, everybody. After we get through all of this, we'll look at creating new cycles of abundance, but we got to do the work first and see what's coming through, creating some of those hurdles or opportunities for all of us. Okay, just taking a quick scan of everything. Got a big change coming through towards the end of the week. Most of the cards are actually very manageable, which I like. So let's begin with the first card. Let me just get the weeks, the days of the week up so it's easy for you. We're going to start with Sunday, and we have the High Priestess coming through. Beautiful High Priestess energy on this too. I love that the moon's behind her, even if it's the wrong phase of the moon. So the High Priestess is one of manifestation, creativity, power, enlightenment, all good things. With manifestation, and I talked about this a little bit in my new moon forecast, which you can watch on my main channel page if you haven't already. We want to veer away from fears because we can manifest in real time during a new moon. And we want to plant seeds of hope, of growth, of possibilities, that evergreen energy that I was talking about. So it's okay to think about, contingency plans, worst case scenarios, etc. But we don't want to put too much energy into that. It would be great to, rather than that, research the possibilities. And today is a day to sort of be super expansive in your thoughts and see where that takes you. And that's what we're getting with this. The other thing, if I can keep the card on the table or off the table, is to allow for your mind to kind of go, like we were talking about limits before, the blank page. I definitely get with this, that sort of expansive energy to allow your mind to wander, to allow yourself to go spaces that you wouldn't normally, and not to sort of rush something just because you don't have all of the pieces together. It takes time for everything to sort of take shape and form. So it's kind of like we continue to have on and off sort of marine layers in LA, but when it's foggy, you can't see the sun, you can't sort of see sometimes to the end of the block. This is more for San Francisco than LA, but that doesn't mean that there's not something there. So always imagine the possibilities and stay in that expansive what if sort of energy today rather than it's not going to happen. All right, let's move on to the work week. We have coming through for Monday, the Page of Swords in reverse. This is a very outspoken card. It's a very succinct, specific, unambiguous card. So this is kind of coming through as an answer to that devil image that I was picking up on in dreams. And if there's a question that needs to be asked, the Page of Swords is going to do that. We also have for some of you incoming news, and the page is a receiver or a recipient. So you may be receiving something and you have questions, or you want to scrutinize, or you need to kind of soak it in and think about it for a little bit. So this is just a really good day for communications. If you need something, ask. If there's something that's lacking, speak up. If you have questions, articulate those. A Page of Swords in reverse isn't passive. It's a very active energy. And so that's the advice for Monday. Get the conversation started and don't assume something unless you've been told. So really listen, ask, and scrutinize. And I think that's going to be the important thing here as we look at Monday. For some of you, it also might be a great day for you to start writing some things down and formulating what it is that you're trying to do as well. All right, let's move on to Tuesday. We have a wonderfully auspicious card here, the King of Pentacles. Can't ask for a better card when it comes to managing money, opening up new opportunities, taking care of yourself. This is also a highly paternal energy, so we just see all things coming together. The Midas touch, or the green thumb here with this card. So this is the day to talk about money. This is a day to have an important meeting, a day where if you have to negotiate a contract, you want to talk about it then. Hopefully on Monday, you've gotten the answers that you need. And Tuesday, you can kind of go in with suggestions or follow-ups, etc. When it comes to everyday life, this is also about focusing not just on money, but on the things that bring you comfort and joy. It's a card that deals with your home or where you spend the most time. And so money, home, and personal development. And again, if there's anything business related or contract related, this card is suggesting that you have exactly what it takes to bring that to the next level. Really good day. So far, one of the high points. Wednesday is also pretty good. I would say the midweek overall, because we have King of Pentacles, 10 of Cups, 3 of Cups. There's not much to not love about that. Or I could say it in the positive. There's a lot to love around the midweek. All right, let's go to Wednesday. 10 of Cups. This is the day to have one-on-one time or sort of group energy too. So if you have to have a meeting, a social event, a date, even a negotiation where there's tricky things that you have to deal with, we see that overflowing energy here with all the cups here. You have a really good chance of having the other person see things from your perspective. You have a great chance of just having a great time. So if you've been super busy and it's like nose to the grindstone, pull back a little bit. We talked about pumping the brakes and taking some time for yourself. This is a great time to do that. It's also a great time to spend with friends and family. So it's just love and joy and people and creativity. And again, you being in a very magnetic energy, being able to connect with all of these things. So Wednesday is definitely a high point. Let's move on to Thursday here. Now we have the Three of Cups. It's a slightly hermited Three of Cups because it's reversed. Let's talk about it. So again, we're looking at Thursday. For Thursday, typically the Three of Cups is about smaller groups, but hanging out with people that you like. It could be about dating or people inviting you. With the card reversed, there's this sort of energy of thinking, I'm a little tired. I've been doing a lot this week. And by the way, it looks like you might have. You've been a lot of communication here, a lot of business stuff here, maybe already taxed out when it comes to your dance card. You've spent some time with others. And now someone else is saying, hey, do you want to hang out? Do you want to see a movie? What do you think of this? And you think to yourself, I'm tired, and that's okay. There may be some people where it's worth pushing because the Three of Cups is still a very positive energy. So depending on the networking opportunity, whether it's business, dating, social, familial, whatever, sometimes you have to find that little extra store of energy. And this is an unlikely social butterfly. So sometimes when you feel like hermiting, but you go somewhere, and once you're there, you're like, oh, I'm so happy I said yes. This was good. You just have to sort of vibe on the energy. Maybe leave a little bit early. You could just make an appearance on something like this. If you are tired, it's equally okay to, just cuddle up under the blanket and watch something on Netflix. I don't care. But I want to encourage you to really weigh it out before saying yes or no. This is also a card where people may be wanting to know where you stand. So this is sometimes for those of you that have been dating or courting an opportunity. It could even be like business where you've been on and off on some sort of corporate opportunity. It's sort of like, where do I stand now? Are you going to hire me or not? And if it's a relationship, are we serious or is this just casual? So there can be that sort of thing coming through for some of you too. Where are you at? You don't necessarily have to make a decision that day, but that might be crossing your mind. Okay, now let's move to the biggest day so far. We have death or change coming through on Friday. It is death reversed, and typically this indicates stagnation. So I actually, as a tarot reader, don't mind seeing the death card because to me it is like a butterfly or like a moth. It's growth, it's change. When the death card is reversed, it's saying you've maybe waited longer than you need to make a change or a step in your life, and this is an encouragement to move the needle forward. It can also show an area where no more movement is possible. So you may be in a job or in a relationship where the other party just isn't receptive to what it is that you have to offer. And it's sort of like, well, this is it. And if I can't go any further here, then it's a dead end. And then it's a chance for you to go right, left, up, down, or some other way, but not necessarily staying put. So there is movement, but it's going to be redirection and reevaluation. Remembering that death reversed, much like the Hanged Man, could be a necessary shift that's going to help you meet a positive synchronicity in the future. So sometimes it feels like Chicken Little and the sky is falling, but really the stars are aligning for you. So other things with death reverse, it's usually not change, it's the lack of change or the lack of movement and frustration. So like death upright could be someone saying goodbye, or it could be the end of something, but reverse, it's sort of like, I want this to end, or I want some clarity, but nothing's happening. So given that you have a lot of great people and communication energy. So this is communication, this is, the green thumb, and this is all this sort of people magic. I feel like you can navigate this. And if you need something to happen, don't wait until Friday. I think that's what we can take away from this. It would be better for you to have the conversation with people 1 or 2 days earlier about money around Tuesday, and then anything else at the beginning of the week. Just don't wait until Friday. Friday should be a self-care day, a day to sort of like relax, kind of like the Hanged Man, and hopefully we avoid the stagnation that we're seeing with this. Let's move on to the weekend. We're going to go to next Saturday. or Saturday rather, we have Temperance. Things are starting to align. Typically, this is an angelic card, which means that you're receiving guidance. It's not always a fast-moving card, though. A lot of times it tries our patience. But what it does show now, especially on the heels of stagnation, is gentle movement in the right direction. Things are starting to balance out with Temperance. Usually we see 2 cups, and Temperance is kind of like taking the cups and trying to even them out. We also typically see the angel with 1 foot on the ground and 1 foot in the water. So exploring new opportunities, being gentle with yourself, feeling your energy coming back. In this one, we actually see the fire. That's really cool. So we see a little bit of fire in the hands of this angel. And so I feel like they're starting to feel inspired or, intrigued or kind of moved. And so again, take your time, soak that in. All right, now let's take a look at a week from today. We'll be back a week from today to check in on this, but next Sunday we have the Queen of Swords reversed. So the energy over the next 7 days, it's kind of interesting because we see a very similar energy here on Monday. So we had the Page reversed, now we have the Queen reversed. The Queen of Swords is one of the strongest queens because she, with a few words, can do more than all the other queens. So, the Queen of Pentacles might have to prove things very logical. It has to be shown on, on paper or tangibly. The Queen of Wands may make a bit of a show with things, like has to kind of like emote. Well, actually even more so with the Queen of Cups, but Queen of Swords in 1 or 2 words can kind of move somebody one way or another. So be very cognizant of the power of your words. I mean, when we think of like, I love you, 3 words can change something, or, go away, or no, or yes. You don't have to say a lot. You just have to say it with impact. And she's the queen of saying things with impact. So you don't have to say a lot, but you can say a lot in a few words. And that's what next Sunday is bringing forth. She also has no issues taking action. It is interesting that we see her as like the ice queen here. She's not always the most sensitive, but she is sometimes the best communicator. So make sure to sprinkle in some empathy, specifically since we have all these shards of ice and this card was reversed. So be cognizant of how your words come through. I think her intentions are good because we have the harp there. So keep it succinct, keep it kind, and then move on. And that's kind of what we're seeing here, is get in and get out. All right. Perfect. Let's move on to the elemental forecast. Actually, before we do that, highlights and lowlights. So the highlights of the week, today is one of them, the High Priestess. And it's so auspiciously connected with the new moon, and even the paternal energy coming through with Father's Day. So there's a lot of developmental energy that wants to present itself right here, right now. I would say Tuesday and Wednesday are also very pivotal days, because this is manifestation, this is development, and this is connections. And then the rest of the week is pretty manageable. Friday is the day I think you want to be most cognizant of and most aware of. Maybe Friday and Sunday of next week, because this is a day where things need to be done before it. And then this is a day where your communications and actions may be scrutinized. So you want to be sure that you're saying and doing things with a sense of clarity and purpose. All right, now we're going to move on to the elemental portion of today's reading. And with the elements, this is the only thing that's going to be sign specific. So we'll take a deeper dive looking at fire, earth, air, and water. Let me just pick a different deck for this one, and then we'll get into it. Okay, saw this one earlier and I thought this would be perfect. So we'll use the fountain for this. All the decks are on my website. I know a lot of times you guys will ask Dakota or me, and they're just all there, and it's pinned in the comment. And I saw Dakota also mention them earlier, so thank you. And yeah, this looks like a pretty good week, folks, I have to say. Fire, earth, coming through again with the King of Pentacles, fire, earth, air, and water. Let's break it down signs by signs, since I do it in groups of 3. All right, so for fire, we're looking at Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. This is a time where things are getting clearer and more real, and you're seeing through some things. So if I'm going to receive Seven of Swords energy, I want it in the reverse state, because basically that is being able to see intentions. And that's one thing that's been kind of cool and unexpected as my own gifts continue to evolve. Even when I don't necessarily want to see it, or even I'm not thinking about someone, the spidey sense goes out there and it shows me people's intentions. So if somebody doesn't have my best intentions, I usually see it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just not going to engage much with that group. Good to know where I stand. You don't need to have an intuition to see this. There could be someone that's talking to you and it just doesn't come through as authentic. You're like, there's something about this that just, it smells fishy. Trust that with the Seven of Swords, because it typically is someone that's trying to show up different than they are. We see the person taking the swords and cutting their losses here. This could also be you. You've decided, you know what, I've done enough here. I've put up with enough. I'm going to take this energy, this insight, and just move on. So it's a combination of both, being able to see true intentions, being able to cut losses. And if you see any activities this week that kind of are in that El Diablo energy that I was seeing in the channel messages, just speak up and say no. Or this is unacceptable, or if someone offers you something and it just doesn't resonate, just say no, thank you. And that's going to help you, because this operates in concert with the devil. 7, 5 of Swords, sometimes the moon, they're all components of the devil. So you want to kind of like pull back from that and just say, no thanks. Be very clear in your communications. Don't make a promise you can't keep. Hold others to be accountable if they're making promises that they don't keep or you think they can't. And create a plan B in case of any of those things. So this is really a week to be prepared with that. And I like to remind folks with this too, it's the little things like an empty promise that you're going to hang out or call someone or do something. Don't say it or do it if you don't mean it. All right? And that's everything. Pretty manageable energy overall. As we move into Earth, we have Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, and you came in as Earth. We have the King of Pentacles, also received the King of Pentacles this week. Let's see, that was Tuesday. So this is especially important for you guys. So the King of Pentacles, actually, this is fantastic. Let me just zoom in on this. If you look, it sort of seems like we have an evergreen, like a conifer or a fir or a pine of some sort there. So this one is also connected to what we were talking about earlier with being able to see growth in even periods of not necessarily stagnation, but sort of like dormancy. So like bulbs grow even when you can't see that they're growing. So there's this sort of hidden latent growth that's happening for many of you. And this card is acknowledging it, even if you're not getting outward recognition. So keep working on yourself. Internal development is important. You also might be doing something that you're not ready to show yet to everyone else. And that's okay as well. The King of Pentacles is also at a point in their life where they're not afraid to do something that makes them happy. And so this card is also encouraging you to stand up for things that bring joy into your life. It's very good at turning things around. So if you don't see something right now, both of these kings have the coin right near them. One is above them, one is right in front of them. But it's basically saying, I've got my eye on the thing that matters most, and I can make something shift or move there this week. So don't underestimate your potential to have a green thumb, to make things really start to take shape and take form. Okay? And that's pretty much everything with that. Moving on to air, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You guys seem to be affected by the moon. No surprise there, because you are able to sort of see things in all directions. So this lunar cycle is bringing new insight, and you may be able to see something from a different perspective. So with the moon in reverse, the fears that you once had may be finally leaving you. Things that eluded you creatively or intuitively are now much clearer as well. And I'm basically seeing a lack of fear, which is good, or a lack of inhibition, which we want to be mindful of, but oftentimes it's needed to take the next step. The moon card is also indicating for many of you the need to sort of like just take care of yourself. It's an increased sensitivity. So if you're in environments that are taxing emotionally or energetically, take special care of yourself. Overall, a highly intuitive card. The reversal of this also is very no nonsense, just like we were seeing with the Seven of Swords. So it does feel like for me, if anybody's trying to to manipulate, because sometimes the moon can show that, you're going to also see through that. So I like the level of enlightenment we're getting this week. Collectively, everybody is nobody's fool. So that's good. Let's keep that energy coming through. All right, let's move now to water. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. You came through also as water. Let me just give this a second to focus. We have the Six of Cups, and it's kind of like a fisheye lens when we look at the couple at the center. This is a very auspicious card because I'll just leave it upright for a second so you can take it on the picture. Six of Cups can be sort of like sibling energy, past life energy, people from the past. And because we have this fisheye lens, it's saying this is a chance to view them through a different perspective as well. We also want to take a step back, get the big picture, because that's what a wide angle lens does. It allows us to see like all the way to the horizon. And things are coming full circle because we see this very circular here. So this can represent karmic cycles and circles. So if somebody wronged you in the past, you sort of see the karmic circle balancing that out or bringing you a new opportunity. If you wanted to say, I love you, I'm sorry, or something else to someone, they're coming back around. So there's this karmic cycle that is representing itself, and it gives you a chance to release, repair, and to renew, which I like. If you call in new love this week, it's deep. It's someone from the past life. So that could be really exciting, but it could also be very intense. So things from the past, people from the past, and then karmic cycles that need to be released, and inner child energy that can be healed. But it's one of the happiest cards in tarot. Typically it's two little kids, and it still looks like two little kids on this. We just have to get really close to the graphic. So have some fun this week, because whenever I pull the Fool, the Six of Cups, maybe the Sun card, any of the children, they are reminding you to not take yourself too seriously, to try to have a good time and see where that takes you. All right, that, my friends, is the elemental forecast. Now let's get ready for the special topic for today. I want to see which deck you've chosen for me. I had a feeling it was going to be Luna. That's a good choice. I haven't used it in a while, so thank you for selecting the Luna deck by Ethereal Visions. All of these decks, again, you can find on my website. All right, so let me just put these two decks to the side, and let me grab the Luna deck, and we'll get started. Again, thanks to everybody for your support. I do appreciate it. All right. So, special topics, creating a new cycle of abundance. And this is a chance for you to, if you've been feeling stuck, since we got that card of stagnation, to basically get unstuck, if you will. So let's see what the beautiful Luna deck is going to bring through. Nice choice for today since it's a new moon. This is basically the updated version. I have the original Ethereal Visions, but there's really like no reason to use it because this one is, in my opinion anyway, superior. It has more colorful images and just a better deck overall. So, all right, this component of the reading is for everybody, and we're looking at creating new cycles of abundance. So where are the opportunities to grow? And are there any blocks? There's our Hanged Man. It's a very sparkly deck, as you can see. Interesting that we got the Hanged Man and the Seven of Swords coming through here because we've seen a few of those. Three of Cups also making an appearance, so lots of cool synchronicities so far. Welcome to everybody today. I see we have some folks gifting memberships and giving stickers. Thank you so much in advance. I will say some thanks at the end, but thank you to Dakota for helping acknowledge the people while I'm doing the reading. I do appreciate that. Okay, let's begin here first with the Catalyst card. Give me just a moment here to pull up the graphic. So the Catalyst creates action and movement in your life, and we have a tiger, which is a pretty fast-moving totem, but the tiger came through in reverse. So it's a reminder, again, as we were talking about earlier, when it comes to speed and movement, that you just want to make sure that there is some intention behind it. The tiger also is one of strength, and it's reminding you that if anybody's coming through and trying to test that sort of strength or resolve, you've got what it takes. So slow down just a little bit. Use that sort of strength and that roar when and only when, or if and only if you need to. And I think that's going to be the key things to think about here. I like any of the sort of big cats, if you will, because they also represent the ability to land on your feet. They're highly intuitive. They're pretty fast. So all of these things will serve you, but you don't want to rush. And that's been a constant thing that I've been talking about this week. Just making sure that everything is with care and with intention and hopefully with ease as well. Okay, we're just going to take a quick scan of the Celtic Cross here, and then we'll get into the meanings of everything. As we're looking at the Celtic Cross, the one thing that I'm noticing is we don't have a lot of heavy cards, which is good. The only tricky one here is in the outcome, interestingly enough. We have a positive card in the near future, but in the outcome, it's the Seven of Swords. So this is why the contractual image came through for me from the devil, which is basically saying make sure that someone doesn't try to get away with something. Everything else is positive, and so I really do think that the devil's in the details. And so I'm going to put that out there already, but now let's kind of take the cards one by one, starting with what we kind of highlighted this week with the Three of Cups. So this Wednesday was the 10, right? And Thursday, I think, was the 3. So this is coming through yet again. I love that the Three of Cups, actually, all of these people have halos. So there could be something that's being cosmically timed or opened up for you. So for those of you that are just tired, but there's a really good opportunity, I'll stand by what I said earlier, which is it's worth pushing, getting yourself out there, making the connections, even if it's just a quick show of appreciation or a quick visual show that you're there, and then you never know what positive things could come from that. For the rest of you, again, there is a question of where do you stand? So the topic, again, is creating a new cycle of abundance. In order to create a cycle, you have to be committed. The Three of Cups is not super committed. It's not as footloose and fancy free as the Fool. So if we're looking at relationships, the Fool, there's no strings, there's nothing. It's just someone that's passing by. Two of Cups, very committed. Four of Wands, very committed. Three of Cups, you're testing to see what's out there. So maybe for some of you, this is a chance to see what the world has to offer, but eventually you have to say, all right, I choose this. I want to commit to this. So there's a question of commitment, and that's the first thing, all right? So allow yourself a chance to sample everything and then really home in on what matters the most and focus. We have a card that's reminding you to slow down. It's crossing this. So we talked about the Hanged Man. This Hanged Man is also controlling how long he's going to hang out in this energy. So I like that. There's actually this understanding that, I mean, the original Hanged Man, it was the same way, Odin. He chose to hang upside down. And it's not like you're hanging. He hung upside down from the Tree of Life from the foot or ankle, which is why you see it there. So this is a little bit different and it's misunderstood. He hung upside down so he could gain knowledge. And so it was a purposeful pause and a little bit of a sacrifice of time and energy. And I think he might have put like a sword. I got to look up the myth again. It wasn't the most fun, and he didn't eat for a few days. It was kind of like this fast and this dedication, and he stayed there until he understood the secret of the runes. So this is saying, like, let's really stick with something for a little bit before giving up on it. And that might be what this is also about. You have to commit to something. You have to be with it through thick and thin, evergreen, right? And so the Hanged Man is telling you to pump the brakes a little bit, to stick around and see where it brings you next, okay? The other thing with this is when it comes to your life in general, there may also be things where you need to slow down because you could be missing something too. So we talked about that. General health messages, you also want to take care of your feet whenever this card comes through, but we'll talk about health in a little bit. We have a foundational card in the deep past. This is affecting how you're viewing the present though. The Four of Pentacles is not enough typically. And sometimes we hold on to not enough because we're afraid of what else might be. So this is also the devil you know. Since the devil came through, he's not showing up in the cards, but I see his denizens kind of popping in here, the cards that work with him. So the devil you know is still a devil. Let go of things that are insufficient, unsatisfactory, or just don't give you what you need. This is also, if we look at it like in a Totem deck, it's more of a foundational card. So think of it as the four corners, but you build upon it. You don't depend upon it solely. So this is the beginning, not the end. And if there's a negotiation, someone could be giving you too little, they're lowballing you, so you want to go back with more. And in general relationships and other things, this is something where your output has been maybe unusually high or inordinately high. So this is a chance to sort of recoup and pump the brakes and say, I can't do this anymore, or I need your help with this, okay? It's also about opening up your heart and allowing for a little bit more vulnerability. All of this can allow for more abundance because when you're more accessible, people can connect with you more and more people want to kind of be in your energy. Okay, now let's take a look at recent past. King of Swords in reverse. I mentioned that, next Sunday we have the Queen of Swords, so this is coming through again, kind of as an echo of that. King of Swords, also very sort of like to the point, can sometimes be too blunt. So one of the things to think about right now is, again, trying to find that happy medium between saying what needs to be said and saying it in the way that is best absorbable by others. If you've been dragging your feet, interestingly enough here, let's say for some of you, this could be making a necessary change. So if you've been too busy, the message here is slow down a little bit. If you've been dragging your feet, this card comes through and it says, okay, you've now waited long enough. Now is the time to take necessary action because the King of Swords usually does that, especially in the reverse state. Great wisdom and great ability to communicate with the King of Swords as well. Again, you don't need a lot of words. You don't need fancy words. Saying big words that don't make sense, that doesn't make you more effective or look smart. It just makes you confusing. So I had a great English teacher that reminded us that the simplest and most effective communication is often the most desirable, especially when you're looking at marketing and public relations, but just general English overall. Because if there's no ambiguity, you communicate it more effectively. Sometimes simple is supreme, it's divine. And if people have to look up everything with the thesaurus or dictionary, it's not the best. So there's a time to sprinkle in those more difficult words, and there's a time to just say what you need to say. Now let's take a look at what's going on with you. You have the capacity to create the movement, the change, and whatever it is that you want to do right now, the Magician. A little bit of disbelief with this one. She's got one eye open, one eye closed, or she's kind of covering up one of the eyes. So I would say here, not everything is going to be obvious. Focus is key. We don't necessarily see the elements on this one. We don't. Of course, you know that typically the Magician is at an altar and we have each of the four major elements in front of the Magician. And so this is a reminder that, just like I was talking about, less is more. It's like when you're creating a fragrance for someone to wear, or food for someone to eat, or decorating a room. If you just have too much, all the details get lost. It's just muddy. It doesn't, in food, you can't taste anything but the spices. In a room, all you see is all these patterns. And basically what you want to do is take the core things and have that be the main thing. So one thing and a couple accents. You don't have to do everything. And that's what this is reminding you. So do less, but do it better. Focus on what you feel. Don't overthink things. The Magician reverse can sometimes lack that clarity and lack that restraint. And these are the things that will open up doors for you, is if you know what you want, if you don't try to prove everything, you trust your intuition, people will look at you as a good communicator, a good leader, someone who just knows what they're doing. Okay? Two of Wands, really auspicious card in the near future. This is what you're opening up. When I look at hopes, fears, and opportunities, you're also opening up the Page of Pentacles. So we see growth and development here. I like that. And those are kind of like the only two cards that I really need to see to sort of see where you're headed next. Two of Wands in reverse, though. It's reminding you that there's no time for looking back. We're really looking forward now. So regrets, could have, should have, would have sort of stuff, that's where you really want to veer away from it. Think instead, yes, I would have done different, in the past, so therefore now I'm going to make this decision. Let the past inform but not anchor you, and that's going to be key, because typically this is very forward focused and very sort of forward thinking. I think as long as you stay in that energy, you'll be good. And I do think that he's a little bit high up in that turret. And usually with the Two of Wands, I'd love to see someone a little bit closer to where the action is going to happen. In this case, it would be closer to the shore, because I feel like you're just steps away from making an important connection. Let me take a drink. You can look at the cards while I do that. And then we're going to move into how you're showing up. And I'll pull Apollo out since some of you were asking how he's doing. He's just chilling out back here. Hey, buddy. Maybe we'll bring him up if he gets up, but right now I just like to let him chill. Okay, so we have the Knight of Swords for you. And the Knight of Swords is also super auspicious energy. This is basically saying that this is a time to move forward. People are possibly coming toward you for insight or information, or if you put yourself out there, you're going to see movement as well. So I mentioned with Monday's energy, I believe it was the page reverse. This is showing that if you initiate a conversation, you're going to see things start to move. Knights don't sit back. They're typically running errands or doing business or checking up on things or fighting a battle that makes sense. So if there's something you really want to see happen, initiate, engage, and I think that that's going to be really important. Let's see what else I want to look at here. I do like that this person is willing and ready to stand up for something. So there may be, this could just be your point of view. If there's something that you really, really like and really, really want, don't let someone push you one way or another. Just stand up for that. It's important. And yeah, this is a beautiful horse. It's kind of interesting because the horse is very introspective. So again, I think everything here is being thoughtful with communication and movement. All right. And that is the card that's signifying you right now, which is really powerful. So movement and communication and doing what's right and fighting the good fight. All of those things are the Knight of Swords. So I like the way you're showing up. Here's what's going on around you. People may not be listening. That's the one sort of challenge right now. So we have the Page of Wands in reverse. This tends to be a very stubborn card. Any of the Wands court cards when reversed can be stubborn, but this one's not listening. They're doing something their own way, and they think that that's the only way to do it. And so there could be a little bit of challenge in getting their attention or getting them to understand what's being said. When this one hasn't been released yet, it'll be tomorrow, but I was focusing for Sagittarius and a message came through, and it's really close to what I was doing for you guys. So I'll talk a little bit about it here because this sparked my memory. So I had a dream a couple nights ago when I was recording that video about there was a teacher just standing up and putting stuff on the board, but nobody was understanding it. So there could be someone in your life that just keeps doing something even though it's not working. And they're not listening to you, or you might be trying to show them, but they're not going to listen to you either because it's just sort of like there's cotton in the ears. Sometimes people have to figure it out themselves. This is something unique to this forecast that I didn't talk about with Sagittarius, but sometimes you just have to figure it out. So if this is a child, a friend, or someone that you normally counsel, all you can do is say, I have experience here or I have some insights, come to me if you want anything, but you can't necessarily change their mind. And that hopefully frees some of you from spinning your wheels. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this. This is someone that's not yet ready to receive information. Okay, let's move on to hopes, fears, and opportunities. We've got another page here. Some of you are in the midst of a big project or you're working with a lot of people. So this person's frustrating because they're not listening. They're doing their own thing. This person really needs to see Data, facts, figures, guarantees, the bottom line. The two of these together create some friction because sometimes you have to use your imagination, sometimes you have to work as a group, sometimes you have to meet in the middle. I think you have an easier time with the Page of Pentacles because you just have to kind of show them how it might have worked somewhere else or why it's worth their while. A lot easier to communicate with them. Also, what's in it for them. When the Page of Pentacles is reversed and it's another person in your life, someone's saying, okay, this is nice, why should I do it? What's in it for me? So you may have to just figure out compensation or motivation for somebody. Again, a lot easier to talk to this person. For this one, the Page of Wands, again, sometimes showing them or kind of showing them a mirror of how this is coming across can help. But you're going to have some communication challenges and some collaboration challenges, which I think you can overcome because these are pages. And ostensibly, your energy came through with the King of Swords. So it is just sort of about establishing who's the boss sometimes, or maybe creating a new contact or a new connection if you need to. But I feel like you have what it takes to overcome those blocks, but those are potential blocks. As aspects of your own personality, this is keeping an open mind. This is looking beyond the obvious and looking for other reasons for doing it besides the money or the fame or whatever. There's other developmental things at play here, and this is a reminder of that. Okay? Now let's take a look here at your outcome. And by the way, whoever's commenting on the video, it looks fine. I have a monitor on the side. Just refresh your feed there. Seven of Swords. We talked about this earlier. And what I would like to say with this one is sometimes it's a matter of cutting your losses. Sometimes it's a matter of calling out someone for just like acting a fool and saying, hey, wait a second, we talked about this, you're doing this, let's get back on track. So what I like about this versus the traditional one is we don't see distractions. So normally in the Seven of Swords, there's some people in the background and this person's getting away with stuff because of the distraction. They're not there. The noise is gone. You see the person and it's really just sort of like how to keep them accountable. For those of you that have like kids or have babysat before, you know what I'm talking about when sometimes they test limits and boundaries to see if they can get away with stuff. And you just have to reinforce those boundaries and say, we talked about this. No, this is what we're going to do. Now, by and large, if someone continues to test boundaries or lacks accountability or just isn't showing up the way you need them to, they could be one of these two folks that we saw here, and they're not listening. And it might be time to put that sort of responsibility with someone else. The contract also was a big piece of this earlier. And what I saw with that was for you, because we had this card of limitless possibilities with this beautifully illustrated magician, don't place a limit on yourself. With a contract, if something is too vague, too ambiguous, it becomes hard to enforce or it opens up interpretation that would be less than what you want. So don't agree to something that's either too strict or too ambiguous. You have to have that happy medium in contracts where it's just enough, and that's really all I have to say about that as well. Okay, let's go ahead now and expand this a little deeper so that we can understand from the areas of health, wealth, love, and destiny how we can create new cycles of abundance. Okay, let's begin with the energy of health. These are all multifaceted. This is going to help you with mind, body, and spirit. And as the disclaimer says, I'm here to look at energy and intuition and tarot cards. If there's anything going on medically, financially, or in your health, obviously you want to speak with the appropriate professional. All right, your health energy this month is affirmation. We have Archangel Michael here for protection, saying you can do it. So you can make the necessary change that you need to make in your life. It's also sort of saying, not only can you do it, but now's the time to do it. So if you've been waiting, now is the time to take action. If you need protection, this is also something that I would connect with like a lawyer or something like that. Get the proper protector in your life to help you through this, to advocate for your well-being. Okay? Let's dig a little deeper into just general health messages, and again, through the lens of abundance. So it does feel like you're opening your insight into seeing something differently. And some of you may see something you don't want to see. You may see something in a relationship or even in a part of your own personality, because what the magician or high priestess can see here, this is a magician, but what the magician can see is something that it's not sustainable. So, or it isn't helpful, or it's kind of like that when you're trying to tell yourself, like there's a devil and an angel on your shoulder, like, okay, oh, don't worry, just do this, you'll get away with it. And the other side is saying, no, this is the wrong, So you need to listen to the voice of reason. And basically the voice of reason is coming through this month saying, this isn't good for you. It could be a person, could be a habit, could be anything of that nature. And you really want to listen to the wisdom. Let's see what else is coming through here. There's a lot of, some of you might be holding some tension, and the tension can create things like increased blood pressure. You could be feeling it in your shoulders. It's kind of centered around chest, shoulders, heart. We don't really want the stress there. Obviously, talk to a doctor if you're feeling that, but sometimes it can just be anxiety. Remember to breathe. Doing things like yoga and Pilates can help open up the heart center and create some movement and some opening there. So from a meditation perspective, you can do that to create energetic movement. Try not to go to extremes. Three of Cups can be anything that you would do that could be addictive, and this is connected to that. So this is basically overworking, overeating, over-exercising, over anything. Don't do it to extremes. We talked about earlier taking care of your feet. Might be time for a new pair of shoes. If there's anything going on, go to a podiatrist, orthopedic specialist, etc. When you're walking, watch where you're going. Otherwise, things are pretty manageable. You may be at a point where you're not ready to start something brand new on your own. And so this can also be doing it with the assistance of somebody to keep you accountable. Archangel Michael's coming through and saying, not that way, this way. Okay, so if you need a trainer, advisor, counselor, etc., to come in and be there, that voice of reason for you, by all means, yes. Otherwise, I'm liking what I'm seeing, so let's move on to wealth, which is your resources, your life purpose, and your career. So for this one, we have the autumnal equinox and we have release. It might be time to let go of someone or something. They come through pretty clearly here, and when this sort of energy exits, then we have these two energies coming in instead. So something that you've been trying to visualize or manifest. And the Page of Pentacles can also be someone offering you something. Make sure that it's enough. But we do see something coming through when you're willing and ready to let go of something else. So that's why death is often rebirth. The card can be both. So it looks like that's one thing that we're picking up on there. Other things to focus on. Networking is super important right now. We got the 10 of Cups for the midweek, and we also got the 3 of Cups, I think, for Thursday. So Wednesday and Thursday, get yourself out there, meet the world at large. You might be able to make an important connection. Because if we take the Hanged Man off of this, we have King of Swords and 2 of Wands. So important communications and a potential offer coming through from one of those meetings. You have the potential right now to create something that doesn't exist. So this is in your mind, in your imagination. This is starting to bring it into the physical realm. This is the physical manifestation of it. This can be the communication of it. So pitching an idea, pitching a project, proposing something, and possibly even if you're looking for work, this happened to me, but like this was back in 2002. I applied for a job at a company that I wanted to work at, and the position, this was my intuition. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was like, I just need something else, and I really want to work at this place. And it was a studio, and I just sent an email on New Year's Eve, and within 7 or 8 days, I heard back, and they wanted me to fly to the office and meet in person. And I started working a week later for them, and then moved to Southern California. So I applied for a position that hadn't yet been advertised. So I remember the VP saying, what a fortuitous email, because we're actually looking for exactly that role. And it's almost as if it were fated to be. Why don't you come and talk to us? I was the first and only person, and I got the job. So you never know when you could open up something. I guess I was good at manifesting, and I guess I was intuitive at the time, but I was a lot younger. I mean, it was 22 years ago or whatever. It was a long time ago. But it was magical. No, it was just 21. Let's not make it too big. It was a while ago, but it was basically it was a very cool moment where I thought, oh, I can actually make something happen. And I don't think I realized until years later how unique that was. But you can make something happen. You just have to be tuned in. I had a friend around me at the time that kept saying, you should apply. And I finally remembered sitting at home, I'm thinking, you know, that friend was right. Why don't I do it? Let's do it now. And she said, I told you you could get a job there. So it took a while for me to resonate with that. So put it out there. You never know. And then nowadays, we have so many new vehicles for distribution that I see people here that are artists and things. Like, you know, now you can release it on your own. You don't necessarily need a third party to publish, to distribute, etc. So that was a little powerful personal story from 2 decades ago when I did work in corporate work. And it was like a dream job. I didn't get hired there, but I worked there for like 4 years and had a blast. I was a freelancer, but definitely a very cool opportunity, and one where, in retrospect, I opened up a synchronicity. Okay. Ask for what it is that you want. Show, like, if those of you that are working on portfolios and things like that, definitely this is the time to showcase stuff. And I think that also it's really important to have a communication for those of you that are in a traditional job. This is about putting it in writing, because it feels like for some of you, the people have fallen short, and it may happen again. If that's the case, I encourage you to look for other opportunities on the horizon to hedge your bets, because I don't love that that's there. It'll be harder for them to renege on the offer if you actually have it in writing, and you might have something to help you keep them honest. But I think if there are places that never follow through, ultimately that dream job, I kept going in every 6 or 8 months and talking to the VP, and she said, you're amazing, but we just don't have headcount. And this was after the .com market had burst, and people didn't even understand what the internet was, believe it or not, like in 2002. So I was in what used to be called new media. Now it's just like digital communications or whatever. But so we were on the bleeding cutting edge, and they couldn't quite justify where some of these positions existed. So I was like, oh, whatever. And I got a better job somewhere else ultimately, but I really wished that would have worked out. But if I were to go back in time, I probably would have just done what I'm doing here a lot sooner. But I wouldn't have had the wisdom and the stories and the wherewithal to kind of bring it all together. So just know that there are no mistakes, and that if you're at a sort of dead end, we talked about that dead end being Friday. If you keep trying something and it doesn't work, ultimately the same place where I had opened up a synchronicity, there was only so many things that I could do there. And then after 4 years, it was time to move somewhere else, and I opened up another one. And that's kind of life. You have to keep opening up different doors. Okay. That's everything for work. We took a deep dive in that. If you are retired, I like to always hit on that too, because I know I have some folks that aren't working or unemployed. Making a plan for the future is important. Keeping that plan is going to be even more important. Meeting some other people. If you're thinking of meeting with a friend or two, that comes through as auspicious. Maybe it's been a while since you've talked. So I see a trip in the making, but make sure that you and the other parties are going to keep your promise. So you might want to have some insurance on this one, just in case one of these people can't make it, but that's the only thought on that. All right, let's move on to love and relationships. Starting this off, we're going to look at all of these categories here: romantic, platonic, friends and family, and then we'll drill a little bit deeper. It says, my energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. That is what I've been talking about for 3 days straight. I talked about it in the new moon forecast. I talked it in the 1 day forecast. We're talking about it again today. So that's why I don't want you guys to go to critical thoughts in a new moon. It's too important to stay open and positive. If you see something you need to deal with, that's fine, but we're not going to focus on fears. We're going to focus on expansion. And that's what today's about, a new cycle of abundance. So let's look at this from the sort of energy of more abundant relationships here. If you're in an existing one, I look at it in 3 levels here: existing relationships, looking for new ones, or happily single. if you're in an existing relationship, we're at an interesting juncture. So for some of you, this hasn't yet, maybe like you've been dating for a while, seeing each other for a while, cohabitating, but maybe not married. It could be open. It could just be that there's a fear of commitment because this is holding back and this is uncommitted. And this is holding into that state of energy of like not making your mind up. So I'm actually looking at, even before I look at like married people, I'm looking at people that are in that dating energy or forever single, but for like single together. It's that let's live together, but let's not get married energy. But the Three of Cups is interesting because there can be this sort of feeling of, well, how committed are we? So there does come a point where maybe it makes sense for legal reasons even to sort of do some sort of a commitment, even if you're not wearing rings or something. So this is a very curious sort of energy for some of you that are dating. And I think because of the Four of Pentacles, Three of Cups reversed, and the Seven of Swords, there does come a point where it's like, well, why not? Why not? Open relationships work for some people, but if it's just a fear of committing and everything else is good, and it does look pretty good, you guys are evenly matched, that's something to think about. If you're in a committed relationship and things are good, let's talk about this. There could be a third party, a parent, even a mother or father-in-law coming through, possibly a father-in-law. There could also just be a critical external voice, a friend, a frenemy, saying something, and they're trying to kind of create some chaos. I think that that's a person that it's time to sort of like shift the energy out, because otherwise, again, you guys are committed, communicative, and good. So this is also about pulling out that third party and saying, it's us, this is the family. That is a detraction from that or distraction, and being mindful of that. Now, for those of you where things aren't good, here's what we're seeing, like committed relationship, but there's a little bit of this feeling of a lack of a spark. That can be the Three of Cups. Where's the fun? Where's the joy? Where's the romance? Or there could be a feeling of, is this the one that I want to be with forever? And so all relationships go through ups and downs. The important thing here is to see one another. You can't fake the chemistry. It's either there or it's not. But what I do like is it feels like communication is a part of this. And as long as you're honest, you're going to be okay. So honest, basically really tapped into how you feel, and cutting through any of the nonsense. That's what's going to be necessary for the healthy, long-term energy of this relationship to continue. What I like about any sort of existing relationship is it does still feel like the two of you are seeing one another in the future. Like you see a future state with the two of you, but it's working through some of that stuff. So communication is the key, folks. If you are in a place where you're looking for new love, what I would ask is, are you looking to just date, or are you ready? Because this is a card where it's basically saying, yeah, this is a good time for dating, but maybe you're sick of the dating routine or the dating apps, or you think that you can kind of do something non-committal, but you want more commitment. There's really a question of what level of commitment. That's the first thing that you have to kind of put out into the world. You don't have to rush into or out of anything for anybody else out there, so go at your own pace. Some of you, because we're looking at fears and we're not going to manifest the fears, we're not going to be worried about bringing in someone that is dishonest. So you're going to lead by example. Put out what you're looking for, be communicative, cut down on any nonsense when you see it. And if you do that, then we see someone in the same sort of energy. I think right now, though, is a really good time for personal development. So if you're single and happy, I see increased financial development. I see a chance for new ideas to come through. Good brainstorming energy right now. Possibly some travel on the horizon as well. And networking, but not necessarily needing to pull new friends or love interests into your life. So it is almost optimal for the single and happy. Single and looking, yes, you can pull someone in, but right now it feels like there are some things that need to be sorted out first. And existing relationships, same thing. Are you happy? Is the spark there? What are you looking for? What are your long-term plans and visions? That's going to sort of like completely shape the future here. And it is all up to you because we have the Magician card. We have Magician energy here with this. My energy creates my reality. Okay. Moving on to Destiny. I like this card. It's reversed, so it's saying embrace it. Weird is the new cool. Boldly express your uniqueness. So it's cool to be alternative, left of center, unusual, someone who is singular and unexpected, because the status quo is kind of boring, isn't it? So this is basically encouraging you to be yourself. I like it. It's the star. It's the star. The star came through in reverse though. So in this case, be bolder, be more authentic. That's actually going to help get rid of Seven of Swords energy, and people will either take it or leave it. And I think that's important. They can take it or they can leave it. All right, let me see if there's anything else that we need to focus on here. I think that's it for Destiny. Now we're going to take a quick look at a final card, and then I'll just make some summarizations on everything that I'm seeing in front of us. So actually, it's the big idea. I have a final card at the very end. But for the big idea, I want to delve into this and just say, what is this new cycle? What is the opportunity, the block? What's it all about? So let's pull a single card and see what you need to do to open up a new cycle. And then we'll just do a quick summary of the cards and wrap from there. All right, so so we did get the High Priestess. Manifestation, folks. Okay, so the High Priestess is coming through. If you can see it, they can see it. If you believe it, they believe it. If you doubt it, they're certainly going to question it. And if you start to focus on things that are not super positive, then the universe comes through and it's like, ugh, I guess I need to teach some lessons instead of just bring through what you've been trying to manifest. So let's lean into manifestation and let's lean into possibility. And let's say, if you listen to today's video for the one card reading, the mantra was, I can do it, I will do it, I am doing it. I can, I will, I am. We have to usually go through the I can, the ability, feeling able to manifest, feeling able to embrace. And then we have to make a goal. I will do it. I will do it tomorrow. I will do it on Wednesday. Then we have to be accountable. And that's actually the big challenge, is the accountability. Because I already know you can, and I believe you will, but you have to really go into the I am. I'm doing it. So that's the challenge this week, is to bring it into action. If you can just, and the will and am, moving from will, future state, to am, present state. And I do that on purpose because the can is like the past, the will is the plan, but we actually, when you're trying to bring something into action, you need to then bring it back into the present. So it's not I can, I am, I will. No, I can, I will, I am. You need to be in the creation phase. So what are you doing this week to get into I am? I am going to send an email on Monday. I am going to create 7 hours on the weekend to do this. I am going to meet with a friend. I'm going to keep an open mind. I'd like you to create a list of I ams, and it doesn't have to be long because you have to stay accountable. Maybe 3 bullet list items that you're going to do this week to bring it into fruition. And because we're in a new moon, this is good. I mean, we're still in the energy for the rest of today. I want you to really feel like you are moving the needle forward, you are going with the flow of things, and that you are the High Priestess energy creating. Quickly, let's summarize, because this is important and I want to get you into this energy here. So the biggest benefits for you right now is, okay, so you have the ability to manifest. Be specific and be discerning. Don't lose track of the vision and stay forward looking. There are people in your life that lack imagination. They're not worth the time and effort sometimes to prove it. Just continue to go into Magician, Two of Wands, and High Priestess energy and keep this energy in the right space. You may be tired, but there may be an important connection coming through, so make sure that you don't miss out on that. Less is more, and that's been a common theme. Fewer words, bolder actions, fewer elements, stronger elements. Say what you're going to do and do it. These are the keys to success. These are the things that will open you up to abundance, and this is how you can create a new cycle. Okay. We have another component for today's reading, which is going to be the meditation. And the meditation is a chance for all of us to come together and just sort of clear something out. So for this meditation, we're going to do a final card right after the meditation. I'd like for us to go into the energy of the moon. I did a little bit of this one of my previous readings, but we'll do it again today. And because it's a new moon, we're going to also kind of go into the energy of creation, space, darkness for a second, and bring in the light. So close your eyes if you would. Take a nice deep breath. Hold on to whatever question it is that you have. Just write it down. Let go of any thoughts, any need to understand things, and just be present. And focus on the night sky. Imagine that it is nighttime, that you can see the faint outline of the moon, but there's no light on the moon. That doesn't mean that the moon isn't there. It just means that there's no light on the moon. Imagine now that from this place on the earth, you're holding a candle, perhaps, so that you are grounded, you have your own light, or you could be holding a lantern like the hermit. And imagine that you could shine the candle or the light onto the moon and travel through a ray of light to the surface. Your mind, your energy, you're going to stay grounded here on the planet. From this place where there's not a lot of light right now, look at the vastness of the universe and see each and every star shining. See the light of your lantern shining and meeting that. See the light within shining as well. Now looking from this distance, imagine that you could see to the sun as well. And you're going to connect and triangulate the energy of the moon, the sun, and the earth. And you're going to amplify your energy on the planet with that solar energy. So take a moment here, and one of the I am goal list items, I want you to breathe some light and some energy into it. And just focus on bringing and opening up something. I mentioned I sent that email on that New Year's Eve many, many years ago. Maybe there's something you're going to do this week, a phone call, a letter, etc. Before you do it, put intention and put fire and energy behind it. And that's what we're going to do right now. So focus on what it is that you want to open up. See the light from the sun bouncing off the moon to your energy here on the planet, and see this triangulation of sun, moon, earth, and you in the center. Imagine now that you are traveling back through that beam of light to your body on Earth, bringing from that experience the understanding that you are connected on all planes, all levels, all existence, to being able to manifest, to see things. You are capable of achieving whatever it is that you set your mind to, and you are now receptive to receiving that as well. Love, abundance, opportunity in the highest forms, here and now. Take a moment now and focus on your final question. Let's see what the universe has to say. If you haven't opened your eyes already, please do that now. All right, nicely met Three of Wands. So we have the Two of Wands here, the person looking, and now we have things coming through here. So again, we're on the final card. This was the question that you had asked. And this is the answer here. We have the Three of Wands in reverse, which means that which you seek not only is happening, but probably faster than you think. And there's an encouragement to look in all directions for this. So the Three of Wands is only super effective when he sees the ships coming in. If he were to look in the other direction or not to be looking at all, he would miss that opportunity. And sometimes there's the expectation that it might happen soon or tomorrow. And this one's saying, not only can it happen, but it's probably underway. So look around you, look in places you normally wouldn't look for insight, for opportunities, for guidance, And we have the tiger as the catalyst, which shows that things can move faster than you imagine. And so that's what we see with this card as well. Again, reversed, but this is auspicious. 3 of Wands, 4 of Wands, 2 of Wands. They're all good, even when reversed. And this is just showing more immediacy, actually, than the normal upright 3 of Wands. That, my friends, is everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the reading. And before we get into the gratitude portion, again, just a quick reminder that simple act of liking, subscribing, or sharing, also commenting, what it does in the YouTube algorithm is basically helps other people discover it. So it's a key component to basically other people finding this video. And so it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't take more than a single click. If you wouldn't mind doing one or all of those things, it'll help the channel, and I'm appreciative. If you'd like to join me on social media, I will remind you of future upcoming videos or past ones, so it's a great way to stay in touch. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. If you're ever in doubt, you can go to my website or the About tab here. I do not offer private readings. I do not use direct messages, and I don't offer services in chat. So if anyone's doing it, they are fake. Block and report, and thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. And thank you for those of you that decided to give back today. I appreciate it. It's not required, but it does help. And I'm going to take a couple moments just to express gratitude. So everybody that's already in chat is a subscriber, and I want to say thanks. I'm going to take a couple of moments to call out all of the new members. I know we got some gifted ones. If I see one right now from Kathy, thank you so much. When I say thank you to the members, I won't see who gifted the memberships, but I will just welcome everybody. So thanks to the people that gifted it. When I go back and look at this on replay, I'll see the gifters and the giftees, but I just see everybody when I look at it on this tab. All right, so to the newest members, and we got a few today. This is cool. All right, KK Chamb, probably Chambers or something, but thank you. Kira, Yereni, Anna, Michelle, Alicia, Christine, the Cottage Bookworm, I think it is, Melanie, Nancy, May, Tiffany, Beth, Letitia, Anita, Kathy, Paula, and Paradoxal Debacle. Thank you so much to all of those members. Some of the names are a little hard to see or they're cut off, so apologies. Someone gave me a hard time last week for mispronouncing. I'm also looking at it with glasses, so I just try my best to say thanks. To the super stickers and super chat, give me a moment for those, and then we'll wrap up here. So for those who gave back today, thank you to Robin for kicking things off. Also to Lucy, Missy, Linda, Z, Renita, Leslie, Raven, Tammy, Zanoni, several times in a row. Thank you. Diana, Nicole, Maria, Jeannie, and Cindy. Much appreciated. Thank you to a couple folks who gave a little bit extra too, like especially Renita, and those that gave a few times. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And let me see if I missed anybody or anything. I think we got Jessica Lux here at the very end, Pearl at the very end as well. And I think that's everyone. Again, thanks to those folks that gifted. It does make a difference. To those that celebrated milestones like Paula, I appreciate you guys as well. And I can't see all of it because it goes up a little bit. Diana, I saw that you gifted some memberships as well, so thank you. And I think I got everybody. Raven, you also gifted some memberships. And let's see, and so did Diana. I think I saw them all now, hopefully. And again, thanks to everybody for your participation today. Lots of love and light. And Enzo, thank you. And yeah, Fur Baby Father's Day, I appreciate that. And Pearl, if I didn't say thanks. Apollo's in the other room. He's ready to go for a walk. I think all I have to do is offer him a walk and he'll come through. But from my heart to yours, wishing you guys all the best. Let me see if I can get Apollo before we wrap up, and then we'll call it a day. Hey, Apollo. Come here. Let Sleeping Beauty sign us off today. All right, thanks everybody. Apollo's awake and ready for his walk, and I appreciate all of you taking some time to make today a beautiful day. All right, thank you very much. And I see we got one last one on the way out. Janet, thanks a lot, guys. All right, have a great one, and I'll see you again tomorrow. We have a live premiere for Sagittarius, so you can check that out. Thank you. Bye-bye.